Rob the Veritas Truth here with you again. So, the next series I want to do, well, the first series I want to do with you, all my viewers, is on education. Now, the essential question I want to do with you is, what's wrong with the education system? Now, the reason I want to study this is because I myself am having an early graduation soon. I expect. I recently took a test to graduate early, and I'd say it was easy enough. I'll get my results back within 4 weeks from now. 4 weeks. So, hopefully I passed. If not, who knows? The Lord has His best interest for me in mind. But right now we have a terrible education system. Anyone can acknowledge that. We have seniors who can't read their diplomas. And you would think that somewhere in the process, teachers would catch that a student can't read and keep them back. So, before we move on, I want to define education. That way we know what exactly we're talking about. Webster defines it as the result of educating as determined by the knowledge, skill, discipline of character, or discipline of character acquired. Also, the act or process of training by a prescribed or customary course of study or discipline. So he says a few things here. He says there's a process, a long process, not one of those in and out processes, with end results. And that's mainly what's happening here. We're mad because we're not getting the end result that we've been getting for so long. And this process has to be doing something. There has to be something that is keeping this process going. And if I'm right, it's teachers. I'm not sure, because teachers are trying to do collective bargaining for their pay in Wisconsin right now. Anywho, there's another important thing he says right here. Education is determined by skill and character discipline. Never does he say anything about race, sex, sexuality, etc. Says it very bluntly, says it straight and clear. Oh, not bluntly, sorry. Different. Insert different word. Says it straight and clear. You determine the skill and teach according to that. And nowadays it seems like we base test scores, we judge test scores on all different types of scales. It confuses and disgusts me. In the 1913 edition of the dictionary, he states that education is properly a drawing forth, which implies that it's more a discipline of the intellect, as well as establishment of principles and the regulation of the heart. And instruction is that part of education which furnishes the mind with knowledge. I have seen so many students in my classes who expect their education to be hand-delivered to them on a silver platter. They've done nothing but sit there, disrupt the class. Heck, I've been in classes where the class has been completely disrupted at points. It annoys the heck out of me. But Webster clearly says that it's a discipline of the intellect, and if you know what discipline is, it's training. And training means you're not just sitting there, you're actually doing something. You have to do something in education. As being from 2 charter schools, one for 2 years, and being in one right now for 1 year, hopefully, I've been learning all sorts of different paradigms. LADS, which stands for Leadership, Action, Discipline, Self, if I'm correct, is just talking about what are the 4 main things of being a member in your community. And then I've learned the habits of heart and mind, which are each addressing 5 main things that guide questions of the heart and mind. Although my teachers have never addressed what the heart was, and I go on, but basically, being in a charter school, charter schools have a community in which they actually address what it means to be a member of the community. Traditional schools, I've never been to a traditional school, but hearing friends on Facebook who are from traditional schools, it doesn't really sound like it. So, this begs the question: what does education draw forth? Webster says education is a drawing forth, so what does it draw forth? According to the New Century Dictionary of the English Language, it is the drawing out of a person's innate talents and abilities by imparting knowledge through which they flourish. So, taking Webster's 2 definitions and this 3rd definition, teachers impart knowledge that draws out students' abilities, thus educates them. That would be all the connections. And if they were doing that, we wouldn't be mad, because what I just said will be the definition of education. So, we are mad because we aren't drawing out abilities. Allow me to sit closer. The United States is the worst in the world according to test scores and dropout rates. I could go on, but you can view in Wikipedia some of the reasons kids drop out is boredom with classes, as well as they can't catch up with them. Honestly, I'm scared of the reason boredom with classes. If you're bored with your classes and you just drop out, that means that you have a problem with the number of virtues you have in your life. And that means that schools aren't even teaching virtues anymore. Wonder if it's because it's politically incorrect. In the debate that the United Kingdom's Youth Parliament had at the House of Commons, the first speaker on the issue of education said that education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. If his statement is true, then none of the students in U.S. schools today are prepared. So, now we have questions. How did the wreck in U.S. schools start? What was the change that caused this whole wreck? And what do we need to do to get our schools back in order? Right now, with this series, all I want to do is find out what was the cause of the wreck. And if I can find what we need to do to get them back on track, then thank the Lord. Some of the subjects I want to go over is the recent Wisconsin protests, charter schools, and an author by the name of Charlotte Iserby, who wrote The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. You can find her book online. Hopefully I can find a reason to all this deliberate dumbing down. So, may God be with you.